Welcome to That Game Show, the awkward, inappropriate, random podcast that occasionally talks about games.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to That Game Show. I am Chase Bunker. Thank you all very much for listening. I'm joined, as always, with Kyle Helmstetter. Kyle, how are you?
Are we just not using my intro we just made?
Yeah, no.
We're just throwing it aside, huh?
Yep.
Well, I'm terrible now. I'm awful.
Yeah. I know well enough now to tell you, hey, I'm going to hit record now, and then just wait till you just get all of your, I don't know what to call it exactly, but
Enthusiasm.
Sure. It sounded more like you were speaking in tongues. It sounded like a mix of like you doing an old, this is gonna be only for like the 90s people, an old bad Bobcat Goldthwait impression mixed with like Donnie from the Wild Thornberries, mixed with like
one.
somebody trying to speak in tongues. Yeah, that's exactly it. And you know what? I brought this upon myself because I mentioned it. Anyway.
The audio on that one.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to it. Thank you all very much for listening. If you like what you hear this episode, please subscribe, rate, review, or subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, Kyle is holding up. Is that like an owl mug?
What is an owl?
That is adorable.
It is great. I love it. It's so happy and warm, and it holds things. Like this one's got coffee inside.
Mm-hmm.
So nice.
Oh, you two you're also drinking coffee at 6:30 p.m. as we're recording this?
You know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The life of overnighters, huh?
Yeah, I do not envy your position at all. But I feel like we had to get an episode out because of the fact that there was big news in the gaming industry. We've been kind of alluding to it for a long time. We missed the whole Unity debacle, which honestly, probably for the best that we missed that. Why?
It came, it went, it's gone, it's kind of back, it's gone again.
The CEO's also gone, because who would have thought?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why?
Sloppy second.
Why are you wearing glasses right now, similar to LeVar Burton's character in Star Trek?
That's absolutely, first of all, disappointed. That's not where these are from.
Okay.
I'm going to give you one more guess, and I expect you to get it right this time. Try again.
Hopefully you're watching this on YouTube, youtube.com/thatgameshow. Otherwise, this isn't really a thrilling segment. I'm going to say RoboCop.
Better. I'll give you that. It's Cyclops. These are Cyclops.
Oh, it's Cyclops glasses? Okay.
Yep. It's a better try, though.
Is that going to be a future cosplay for you?
No, I hate Cyclops.
Really?
Yeah, I hate Cyclops. They did a great job making him unlikable in pretty much every medium possible that I've ever seen. Comics, hate him. Movies, I really hate him. Like, specifically really hate him. He actually ruined it more for me than when I went back read the comics. I'm like, God, I really hate this guy now.
All right, excellent. Why do you have the glasses?
They were really just in front of my computer, and I can never wear these when I drive because my field of vision is cut by about 75%, and I'm pretty sure legally that's not allowed.
Yeah, that's not allowed. No.
So I just wear them when I play team-based games, so that when everyone calls me various names, I call them the hater goggles. So I put them on, and I can't see the haters anymore because they lose about 75% of my vision.
All right, this definitely took a dark turn. Thank you. Anyway, we had to get an episode out. It's definitely something we've discussed before, and now it is officially over. Microsoft has officially completed its deal with Activision-Blizzard.
Mm-hmm. They're now micro hard. No, I meant micro gigantic. Oh, damn it. That wasn't, the delivery could have been better. But the point stands. They're micro gigantic now. You know what? I'm going the wrong way with this. They're not micro anything. They're gigantic soft. Oh. God, what was I doing? Oh my God, how did I royally screw that up? Oh my, continue. I'm just,
Can I?
I need to think on what I just did. Keep going.
Anyway, this was a deal that was in the making for 2 years. It seemed like it was going to get shut down when the FTC said no and when British regulators said no. And then all of a sudden they made things work to where British regulators said yes. And now we have this mega deal, which honestly, it kind of feels like the whole Thanos completing the Infinity Gauntlet. Because have you seen everything that they own now, first party?
Yes, that's why I called them Gigantic Soft, which I called them the first time, by the way. Don't get it twisted.
Okay.
They own a lot. They own more IPs than me.
Okay.
Which is true.
Not saying much.
It's not saying anything. They own more IPs than I own socks.
Okay. That's really depressing. I think we'll get about that in just a little bit. But yeah, they own a lot, and essentially they just got it in one fell swoop. Because here's the thing, like you and I both complained on this show earlier, like in a previous episode, that the problem with Xbox is they didn't have any exclusives last year. And of course now they have a few this year with Starfield, not including PC, Starfield, and at the time Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is now, I think, out on, I believe it's going to be out on multiple consoles. But regardless, they didn't have any. So now this is who they own now and some of the games that they make. All right. This was courtesy of Tom Warren on Twitter. This might be an old graphic by the time you watch it or listen to this. Who cares? You have Blizzard, which is already World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Diablo, Overwatch, Call of Duty, not Call of Duty, that's Activision, we'll get to that in a second. You also have Warcraft Rumble, another mobile game that's about to come out. You have Activision, which is a big one, Call of Duty. They also own MLG, so it's big on the esports scene. You still have Toys for Bob, so they do Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. You have Tony Hawk, the makers of Beanox, that's it. You have King, so that's Candy Crush, so that's a big one. And then you just recently purchased Bethesda, so of course you have all of their games that we've discussed earlier. And then of course you have Xbox Game Studios, which is 343, Coalition, World's Edge, Rare. And what you essentially see now is like, oh, they're gearing up for something big here. And it's crazy. Like, I feel, first off, I feel happy for Blizzard because I feel like they can get back on the right track, because I feel like Activision heads have been kind of like hampering them a little bit on like some of the progress and some of the layoffs. But like, this is big for them. Like, this is going to definitely help them out, especially when they've kind of had a bit of a down year, it seems like.
Blizzard?
The Xbox as a whole. But yeah, Blizzard's definitely.
I was like, dude, wait, what do you mean? Is this like a question? Like, yeah, Blizzard's been on a real hard down. Like, they took Diablo and they were like, ta-da, here's a great game. And then they were like, also, don't get used to that. We're going to fix that really quick. So, no, for Xbox, yeah, I would say it's looking like an upswing for them. Now, granted, I will say this. How many projects are they taking over that actually are in a really good spot? Starfield is like, I would definitely call that a solid acquisitional IP, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is a game that has been rather enjoyable, I would say, for most people who played it, although I don't really know how it got such solid 10 rating reviews on pretty much every journalist site that I saw. It was good. Wasn't a 10 out of 10 everywhere, but nonetheless, solid pickup. But then, like, what did they pick up, would you say, outside of maybe World of Warcraft was probably their solid acquisition from Blizzard? Because otherwise, Overwatch is in a terrible state right now. What would you say about Diablo? Where would you put that right now?
I think Diablo is still a very suitable IP. I think also, here's what I know about Blizzard and Diablo, because, like, remember, Diablo 3 had a very bad launch. And then it gained steam. They made some tweaks, and it became really good. And so you still have that. I know you're saying Overwatch is down, but you also have to think, like, it may be down here, but overseas it's also it's doing really well.
Is it?
Well, let me rephrase that. It's
Okay.
doing better. I know that they're having issues with the agreement in China over the use of BattleNet, use of online play, because there's supposed to be a service fee. So you have that. You also have StarCraft, which people forget. Like, StarCraft is a very massive IP. You have World of Warcraft, as you mentioned. And there's also a survival game coming out from Blizzard that we don't know the title of yet, but it's still that possibility of, okay, this could be another big new IP similar to when Overwatch 1 came out that could also bring in a lot of people. Let's also not forget Candy Crush.
Yeah, Candy Crush is. I'd say, listen, every single mom out there is. I mean, hey, listen, that market, they're about to see a demographic tick in a direction they've never seen before.
And also, like, let's also not forget that Activision as a whole, because I mentioned Call of Duty, but like, there's also Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Tony Hawk. There's also been talks of getting in, rebooting Guitar Hero and all that. And I think also the big one is Bethesda. I think when they acquired Bethesda, we knew that there's something to be big there because, again, Fallout. You have the Wolfenstein franchise, which is very solid. You have Elder Scrolls 6 at some point is going to come out, maybe in our lifetime. And it seems like they saw what was happening. They saw that, hey, what's PlayStation excelling at right now? First party. What are we going to do now? Buy a whole bunch of companies and get a whole bunch of great first party acquisitions.
I need to see. This is the thing. I do believe that this has put them at a crossroads. They can absolutely take a massive step in the right direction here. My only thing is I do feel like as a whole they've dropped the ball on a lot more lately than they've been successful with. The acquisition of the Microsoft Mojang acquisition back in the day, that didn't exactly launch Minecraft to the top of the list when it was in the direction where it was headed. It was like, it was stagnant, but it was comfortable. I've heard mixed reviews from people that some people really think that it's gone down since the Microsoft takeover. Other people are like, it's held steady. It's fine. Not exactly the most encouraging. Halo has been bad. The Halo servers, everything they did with Halo Infinity, like, that was not good.
Yeah.
That was a bust. And the problem is, like, that was one of those biggest IPs. All you had to do was just kind of not screw it up, and you would have captured the hearts of tons. But instead, you screwed it up, and you really never delivered the things you promised. Is this a 343 thing? Is this an Xbox Game Studios? I don't know, but I'm not inspired yet, because the problem is they've got their fingers in things, and I don't want to see... I don't want to see a name this strong come in and then everyone's like, oh, they've got resources, money, backing, like, this is a huge direction. And then it ultimately manifests into nothing because I haven't seen success out of this, like, this stuff yet. I mean, even Sea of Thieves at times, for a game that is a little bit more of a cult following, and I'd say is much smaller on the grand cosm of games, I've even seen that game struggle with its fans at times because of some of the updates that come out. And again, is that rare? Or is that Xbox? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little challenging to say, is this a good thing for Overwatch? Is this a good thing for Blizzard as a whole? That depends on... Well, that just depends, right?
Right.
How much of Xbox is going to be like, yes, we would like to play. And then it's like, whoa, hold on, time out. Is this a good thing or is this not?
I can understand your skepticism because that is a very true point that they did buy the makers of Minecraft, and Minecraft didn't exactly boom. So I think that is definitely a valid point. I think for Blizzard, for Activision Blizzard, it's great because you still have the original Blizzard fanboys who, you know, loved the company back in the day, who was a very solid company. But then once the Activision merger came in, that's when we started seeing the quality go down. That's when we started seeing the issues with Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. The announcement of Diablo Immortal, which led to the forced announcement of Diablo 4. And it's been usually the Activision figureheads that were largely responsible. Let's not forget that I think 3 years ago that Activision literally started a meeting with, we just had record profits. By the way, we're laying off 900 people. So
Yeah,
I think
that
that's
is-
the thing,
yeah,
which
that's
by
true,
the
too.
way, speaking of POSs, the Activision-Blizzard CEO, Bobby Kotick, very controversial figure. They've been trying to, people, or when I say people, I mean fans, have been calling for his firing and his resignation for a long time. It's come out that after this deal has gone through, that he will be resigning at the end of the year. He's going to be staying in just to help with the transition process. And so the good news is about this deal, he's going away. The bad news is, like, he's going to get the golden parachute. And the one, it sucks, but I know that's also business. Like, I know everybody wants to see him just like get thrown out to the streets, but like that, I think we all thought that that's just going to be, as much as you want it, it's not going to happen. Like, that's just fantasy. But I do love this tweet from Seamus Blackley. Do you know who Seamus Blackley is?
Vaguely.
If you don't know, he is essentially the father of the Xbox. Like, he helped create the Xbox and sell it to Microsoft, and of course you now see what it is today. He tweeted this out, and I thought it was brilliant. We pitched Guitar Hero to Bobby. He told us nobody would ever stock it and turned it down, only to buy it later. I reminded him that he literally said to me about Xbox only a few years before. He laughed. He's now being bought by Xbox. Karma is a...
Can we say
No, I just bleeped it out.
twice?
Twice, yes, thank you.
Okay. Good to know. See, I need like a list of words that I can't say.
Chase Bunker.
Half mask, motherfucker. Oh, wait. I forgot. No. Okay, listen.
Kyle Helmstetter.
No, it's because when I record my episodes, I can swear because I'm the one making them.
Yes, but when you're doing the podcast, you can't
Right.
Eric Vasquez.
So can I say dick?
Yes.
What about Willie?
Yes.
Massive penis.
Yes.
Schlong.
Yes.
Schlong dong.
Yes.
Dong schlong.
Yes.
All right. Long dong schlong.
No.
This is That Game Show.
You and I both know, because we've seen it happen both in the industry that we used to work in with like movie theaters, and we also witness it in sports. Whenever a rival company or a rival team makes a deal, somebody usually responds in kind. I remember when AMC bought a company, made them the largest movie theater chain. Regal bought a company as well. I know whenever a contending sports team makes a trade to make themselves better, a rival team or someone who's also a contender makes another trade. So who does PlayStation go after? Nintendo is just a whole different ball field. They're playing a whole different game.
Yeah.
They're part of the group, but they're in a
don't
different
care
league.
Also, they don't have to care, right?
No.
The problem is like they have their own unique things. It's like it does literally not matter what you guys do.
Mhm.
We are still going to sell Mario games. We are still going to sell Legend of Zelda. We are still going to sell Pokemon, and you can't stop us. Like,
Yeah.
you think you can? You can't.
You can't.
Like, we're going to succeed. And they've proven that by releasing some questionable Pokemon games, and it continues to sell really well.
It didn't matter. That's the worst part, is that it didn't
Doesn't
matter.
So, who does PlayStation go out and get? Well, that would be super challenging. I mean, it would be interesting to see them go after like a sports-based, like a sports company. Like, I mean, EA and 2K are the big two that you think of.
Yeah, I was thinking about EA as well, because what's funny is we're thinking sports. The one thing I was thinking of was FIFA.
Yes, FIFA's huge.
'Cause I know that-
agree, that's a massive
Yeah.
IP, and it wouldn't change EA's approach to how they make these games. Like, it's not going to suddenly make them better, but it's kind of like a nuclear deterrent almost, right? The problem right now is that Microsoft owns so many games now and so many IPs. They also kind of like quietly, nothing's quiet with them, but when you think about and you list off some of those games, realize a lot of those were things that you probably enjoyed on the PlayStation more so than the Xbox back in the day. Like, you mentioned Crash Bandicoot.
Spyro, yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, those are games that I think about as classic PlayStation games, not Xbox 360 games. And I know now, obviously, like, whatnot, but some of these things are, like, It almost kind of feels like they kind of put their thumb on the jugular. They're like, "Hey, we're here." And it's not threatening. It's more of like, just remember, in the back of your mind, you're always now going to realize they kind of own a really, really big majority. And if they suddenly pull the whole, and we're back to just us allowed to, distribute it, that's going to be really tough on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you imagine losing out on just the Bethesda, branch, and then you move into the Activision part? Those two alone, I feel like that is a lot of games you lose out if you're PlayStation.
Yes, and I think that was, of course, the big worries with the monopoly fears that we discussed earlier, and we've discussed in previous episodes as well. There's also, here's the thing also, is that right now they're saying, no, don't worry, it's not going to be a monopoly. When the monopoly comes, here's the thing, the FTC can still get involved and say, okay, we're noticed that there's too much of a monopoly now. You have to disband some of these companies. So that is possible because we've seen it before. They've done it with phone companies. So it's not out of the realm of possibility to see, for the first 5 years of this deal, just straight dominance, and all of a sudden it's wait a minute, hold on, you guys are getting a little too big now. You're gonna have to branch off and do something else.
Yeah, that's possible too, and that's where I think you have to see whether or not PlayStation kind of makes a move and something, or they try to acquire someone just to be able to say hey, we're here too, and don't think about getting any funny ideas because we too have we have our own nuclear weapon. We too can kind of counteract what you got going. But whatever you're cooking over there, we're cooking something too. And it's all right, well, now no one's going to make the first move because they know that something's going to be put on the table, whether they want to or not. But I do think that, it'll be interesting to see what the step in is and whether they do say, that's too much good. You're cooking too much over here. You got to start to divvy it up.
Chase Bunker.
Other notable things that was announced, Final Fantasy 16 got a new trailer.
Kyle Helmstetter.
I'm so excited for Final Fantasy 16.
I'm not.
This is that game show.
So I had this revelation that came upon me. I don't know why I made it sound that fancy, to be honest. I'm sorry. So, Kyle, what's funny is this was pre your time. So this is pre-Kyle era of that game show. We had a lengthy discussion with Lucas Croft, formerly of the Player 4 podcast. I think he's now over in Golden Guardians. Luke, if you're listening, hello. How are you? I hope you're doing well. And it was about Order 1886. So one of the major knocks when it came out was the fact that it was 10 to 12 hours long. It was not a long game. And this came out in 2018. So have you played Order 1886, by the way?
I have. I also think it was earlier than 2018. I think it was back in mid 2000.
Oh, you're going to make me look this up now? Okay.
I think I'm going to go 2014, 2015.
All right, I'm on it. Here we go. Order 1886. Give me your final one right now.
2015.
You're going to say 2015? Okay,
I remember playing it, I think.
All right, 2015. All right. Get your guesses now. All right, cool. You've had enough time for your guesses for all those people who are listening. Yeah. You are right. It came out February 20th, 2015. So. Okay.
I remember I bought a PlayStation 4 back in back early enough where I was there were not a lot of games and I didn't know what to play, and
yeah.
Boom boom.
All right. So I was talking with Mitch Dyer, formerly on IGN. And by talking to, I mean I tweeted him out on X. He didn't know of my existence until that day. I also hate that name. I'm just going to call it Twitter from here on. He posted, I've been playing Order 1886, and this should have become an enormous franchise, a rare case where critical reception just feels incorrect to me. This is a smart, gorgeous, interesting, original world that absolutely deserved better than what it got. It had original weapons I've never used in a shooter before, terrifying boss encounters, extremely immersive cinematic presentation, a remix of mythological figures and history, a story of friendship, betrayal, and loss. It's a AAA Telltale-like with a lot, all caps, of solid mechanics. Also, this game is like 8 years old, and it has what in 2023 seems like the best looking cinematics I've ever seen. Like, holy bleep. Art, animation, VFX went beast mode on this thing. Anyway, if you skip down on this like I did because reviews are middle of the road, I urge you to revisit this one. It has so much more going on than what I initially believed, and it is everything you can ask for in a new IP. And one of the things that I mentioned was how a lot of people hated it because it was such a short game. And then we realized, and he also had this tweet up that we were talking, and he said, oh gosh, let me pull up on my phone real quick. Controversial opinion, 10 hours is a long time. And I feel like, think about 2015 and how we wanted all of these like epic games where we just want like 60 hours, 100 hours. We want to get our money's worth. And now in 2023, where we're just like, I'm kind of done with all that. And I don't blame people at this point because it's like, I just finished, I just remember a few years ago, I finished, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, put in 100 hours. And I had no idea if I was even close to the end. And I'm working on Breath of the Wild, which I know is going to be a lot of time sink into it. And then there's a few others that I've just put numerous time sinks into. And it's like, I kind of miss the whole 10-hour game.
I agree with you. I think, I've noticed, I was thinking about this as you were talking, and I'm like, what are the games I've played lately that have been marathons, so to speak? And I'm like, Starfield would be one, Baldur's Gate. I'm like, are these games that long? Because I feel like I've been playing them for a long time and I'm not making progress. Then I thought and realized, and this might be where that 10 hours feels like actually kind of perfect into long even. There are so many side quests in games now. And that's what makes them long, is because some of them, think of The Witcher. If you did all of the side quests, a lot of them are fetch quests as well, you spend so much time having to look and do all these little nuances that it's draining because it's like chipping away at your own stamina, being like, oh, I gotta go collect 5 eldenberries, but I can only find 1 here, and I gotta go up to here and then down to... It's like, damn, that's probably what's fatiguing people, and this 101 hours of gameplay that they advertise, it's not really 101 hours. It's still 10, but that's only if you just do the main quests. Like, what are your thoughts on it? Like, is side quests really... Does it enhance the gameplay? Is that what's making this time feel so kind of like slogging?
I like side quests to a point where I don't like it when it just completely bogs down an adventure. Because I feel like there are times where eventually I just get side quest fatigue and I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to go and finish up the rest of the story. Like, I felt that as much as I loved Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think there was like 1 or 2 islands that I just skipped. And I'm like, all right, let's just get this over with because I know I'm near the end and I want to just get there.
I think that's a problem.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right that like, side quests do play a part, and I think there's also a bit of an importance when it comes to side quests. Side quests help level up your character. Side quests just give you a whole bunch of items. So it's like, you can't skip out on side quests or else you just miss out on like a good chunk of the game. Like, that's also the thing, is that like, you can explore so much because of it. So there has to be like a good balance.
I echo that sentiment personally, because I really do agree that ultimately I feel like you're losing such a value of a game when you don't do the side quests, even for as meticulously boring as some of them are, like the fetch quests, I need you to go kill this monster, and you get there and you think it's gonna be a cool cutscene and it doesn't even get a name. Like, you're like, oh, cool, it's just a standard enemy that I fight. normally that is just a little bit enhanced so it can be a decent like pseudo boss almost, and you're like, okay, yes, I totally agree. And I think back to like the Fallout days, the Skyrim days, where it's like those games are renowned for being incredibly long. Then I think back and I'm like, those games aren't that long. They're actually really short if you just do the main quests and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And in a game like Fallout and actually in Skyrim, really both, you kind of don't really need to level up to be any better. Like your stats, sure, they go up a little bit, and sure, you kind of find better. You do find better equipment through the side quests, but you don't really need to do them. You can just do the main quest and you'll probably be just fine because the levels don't change a whole lot other than like, okay, subtle damage increase based if you build that tree. But hell, you don't even need to build that tree if you don't want to. You could be level 24 and be like, I'm building the barter tree. I'm trading really well. I am building the alchemy tree.
Mm-hmm.
But my combat is the exact same as I was at level 1. Minus I found this cool axe on the floor that has a little bit of frost in it, so that's cool. Those games, I think, do it really well. You could just skip out on all the side quests, and you'd be okay.
Yeah, and what's funny is I'm playing Breath of the Wild right now for the first time, and I realize that I'm doing a lot of just like the main quests just because I don't see the side quests. And my wife, who's been playing it, who's about to beat it, and she's been doing like all of them essentially. And she's like, you're missing out on all this. Like you don't even get the chance to explore this land, go and see these like adventures. And so it's like they're a necessary evil in a way. Like side quests add value to your game, but they can also ruin experiences by either like whether it's poor side quests, whether like and sometimes with like racing missions or escort missions or something that's incredibly frustrating. Like that was one thing with Spider-Man. The first Spider-Man game, loved it, except for Taskmaster Quest and Screwball. Like, those completely, like, turned me off. And it's like, okay, was a 10, now it's a 9. It's still a really good game, but also bleep those quests.
Yeah, poor quest design with frustrating ending points that make it actually harder than the actual game is like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate's another one. This is not a complaint, mind you. They do a lot. Like they have obviously the main storyline, and then they have a ton of side quests where if you did only the main storyline, it's a fairly short game, but you miss a ton of characters. And I don't just mean like you miss a ton of characters. They're actually well written and they contribute to later games. So it's like you actually just lose out on a lot of value by not doing these side quests. Thankfully, they do a really good job of making all of the side quests feel like main quests. So it's not this slogging, dragging, fatiguing kind of like, oh, I need you to go do this and this for me because I'm an NPC who's too damn lazy to go and do it myself. Like, I need you to pick my apples. And you're like,
I was just thinking, I need you to get me apples.
And you're like, are you incapable of picking up 5 apples from the ground, like in your backyard? There's a worm out there. You're going to make me fight the caterpillar. What do you do? What are you going to do when I leave? Are you just going to like sit on your thumb and be like, oh, I wish I had more apples?
I like the side quests that at least like there's a good story involved. And it's like how you said that they're side quests that feel like the main quest. Like there's at least like a good beginning, middle, and end. I always associate this side quest, and it's one of the biggest sources of frustration I ever experienced in gaming. And it was World of Warcraft. It's one of the beginning side quests. You have to kill, you have to acquire 4 zebra hooves.
See?
And so you have to kill it, but the loot doesn't drop. And it's like,
oh, they're random loots too?
It's random. And it's like, no, I see a zebra hoof. That's how they're walking. And it wouldn't count as that. And so eventually that got patched in like other MMOs, like Star Wars The Old Republic, like fixed that. But like it's just stuff like that where it's like if it's random encounter, like that's a big source of frustration for me.
Random drops that are also fetch quests, I actually want to like off myself sometimes. They are the most painful. because it's exactly what it's a random damn drop. I don't even know if I'm gonna get it. And sometimes you'll kill like 3 creatures in a row and you'll be like, perfect, it's done. But I never got any of the items I was supposed to because it didn't drop anything.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
What is the perfect amount of time for you for a game?
It totally depends on the game. I could like if they take time and every side quest felt like a main like that was my big complaint with Skyrim was the side quests sometimes felt like nothing at all. Like I didn't gain a single thing from doing it. Other ones were really cool. Like they opened up a moment where you were kind of like, wow, I feel like I got a little bit of like genuine satisfaction on doing this whole like side quest kind of thing, and that's pretty cool. I like that. And then there's like silly ones where it's like I think there's one where you're playing Skyrim and you get intoxicated at something, and then it's like you're retracing your steps to figure out what you did. It's all this weird, like you cut off a giant's toe at one point, and you don't remember it. It was a fun one that I was like, okay, it's stupid. It does not contribute to the main storyline at all, but I'm enjoying the silly little like move from place to place and see what's going on kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, it depends on the game. How much am I enjoying it? How much is it taking away from the main storyline? And also, this is my biggest frustration. If I advance the storyline, do I lose the ability to do the side quests?
Oh, I hate that. I hate that.
Sometimes it's just like I'm a bit of a completionist. I don't want to have to stop and be like, oh, if I move on, I'm losing out on all of this stuff, and I have to either restart the game, I have to, go online essentially and look up like every area that I have to go to in order to feel like I completed something, and that's really frustrating too.
I agree. No, 100%. Like I always hate moments in gaming where if I advance the story, I don't have access to certain areas anymore. And I think that part sucks because it's like, shoot, I wanted to go back, and I hate the idea of, well, you missed out on this. Well, tough crap. You got to play the game again. And I think that's just, I am not a fan of that. I kind of agree with your point with it depends on the game. And I think going back to the original topic with Order 1886, like that was the problem for a lot of people, is just how linear it was. It was a 10 to 12 hour long game because it was literally like no open world. And at the time, everything was open world. So if it's not open world, it's crap because we want more added length to it. And I think if Order 1886 came out now, like it would be a very popular game.
So this is the thing. If I recall it correctly, it's been a few years since I played.
Been 8 years.
The only thing I didn't 8 years, perfect.
Yeah.
Some of the only things that I didn't like about the game, I didn't really care that it was an open world. I did kind of dislike the quick time events though.
Yeah.
And to me, quick time events can really spoil a game because it really does detract from like the value of playing it. But not everybody feels that way. So like for some criticisms, that's a very valid complaint. Like if I'm reviewing a game and it's a bunch of quick time events to make up some of the combat, I'm gonna feel a little bit like, dang, this is kind of it's kind of not great. Like I don't like pushing the button and having it done. So
yeah, that's understandable. And I think also that was a bit of a product of the time as well. Again, remember 2015, which was again 8 years ago, not 5 years ago. When I first saw it. Everything was open world, and also QuickTime events were still a very prominent thing. And I think we're now slowly getting away from that. So
I would say fastly. I don't even know the last time I did a QuickTime event in a game.
Well, I think they slowly got away from it at that time. I think 2018 was when we stopped seeing the rampant amount of QuickTime events. So actually, I want to say that probably went away. Did that go away during the Souls era? Like during the beginning of the Soulsborne era?
I think that the Souls era introduced creators to the fact that, hey, dang, people like they're gluttons for punishment. Okay, screw it. Like we were giving them an out with the QuickTime events for not screwing up their combat, but if they like long drawn out combat, let's do it. I think you're going to see that happen, and then you're going to see people complain about how hard combat is sometimes for some games, and it's not going to advertise them as a true Souls game. So it's going to be like, yeah, you're enjoying this for the most part, and then all of a sudden, boy, this boss is a freaking, like, it's a pain in the ass to beat. This is terrible.
Right.
So you're going to see that too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're probably right. I just hope that in the end, I hope that Order 1886 kind of gets the Alan Wake treatment. Which, by the way, Alan Wake 2 is coming out in a few weeks, and I think it's going to be like the perfect end to this incredible year in gaming. I don't know of any November releases or December. I could be mistaken, and I'm sure someone's going to tell me that of a game I just forgot. But I hope it does get the Alan Wake treatment. I hope more people play it. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. If you have not played it yet, go play Order 1886. It should be fairly cheap now, and I think if we get the hype going for it, then maybe we might see a sequel, maybe late PlayStation 5 era. Who knows?
If I recall correctly, the only thing stopping a sequel from Order 1886 is that they require... I think they need the approval of Sony to do that.
Yeah, Sony has the IP. So Sony could either give it back to Ready at Dawn or just give it to another company. So
I mean, hey, I think to keep it in the spirit of what it was, just give it back to Ready at Dawn.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think they had an idea, and I think they'll probably execute it better. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. If you like what you heard today, subscribe, rate, review. It helps out the show greatly. You can follow me on Twitter at ChaseBunker. You can follow Kyle on Instagram at Scandinavian_sensations. He found the air horn on the soundboard. I knew where it was. I was hoping you were going to forget. All the music you heard on this show is courtesy of the band Power Glove. From music, tour dates, and merch, check out PowerGloveBand.com. And if you want to watch the show or see some of our shorts, youtube.com/thatgameshow. For Kyle Helmstetter, I'm Chase Bunker. Thank you all very much for listening, and we'll talk to you all in the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you check out more episodes on iTunes and on our YouTube page, youtube.com/thatgameshow. And follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/thatgameshow.